Today's video is going to be over the episode 3 teaser that we got for the Daryl Dixon series, because we just had episode 2, which was a great episode. I just did a breakdown of that, so be sure to go check that out. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel for all my Walking Dead content that I'm producing almost exclusively lately. But getting into this teaser, we're going to kind of break it down a little bit frame by frame and just kind of see what we're going to expect in this next episode. If you have not watched this series already, or you were unsure about it, I was too, but so far the show has been proven to be amazing. I've really enjoyed this show, enjoyed the characters, enjoyed the story, enjoying the fresh take on the things that we have yet to even see. But getting into this teaser, let's see what we're in for the next episode. So the teaser starts off with Daryl and his crew continuing their mission, and we hear Daryl's voiceover saying, "We tried it your way, now we're going to do it mine." And a part of this mission, they're going to go into what used to be pretty, I would say, densely populated areas, and they're going to probably run in all kinds of different trouble, but they're on their way. We see this first frame of Daryl in that shot of being in this kind of former city area, and then moving on, we see that they've made it to their next stop. I don't know if this is supposed to be the final stop or just one of the bigger ones along the way, but this guy, I'm not sure of his name, I don't think we've gotten it yet, but he says, "We've been waiting to meet you for a long time," referring to Laurent. The next one is another shot of this guy. He's in what I can only assume is the catacombs of Paris, and the catacombs are very famous. It's where thousands of bones are said to be laid to rest, and they're very long, winding tunnels underneath the city, and a lot of people really don't even know where they go. People have been lost in them. It's just a big thing. But this guy goes on to say, "We've survived other apocalypses. We're going to survive this one too." So not real sure what he's referring to as far as multiple apocalypses, but I'm anxious to see where this guy came from, what's his background, and just see what part he's supposed to be playing in this whole thing. And in this next shot, we can only assume this is part of that trip that they're trying to make to this area. We see Daryl lining up a shot, which we can assume is probably towards a walker, or maybe they see another possible threat along the way. And in this one, this is another instance of Daryl kind of hanging on Isabel, that she needs to tell Laurent the truth about who he is, who his mother was and everything, how the circumstances surrounding his birth. I don't know if really Daryl knows that. I don't think Isabel shared that with him, but just letting him know why they're on this mission in the first place, why they left the safety of the Abbey, even though the Abbey was compromised at that point too, but just to stop lying to him, because Daryl doesn't see the benefit in not letting him know. He needs to know the facts about his life so he can make the choices himself, because he is going to eventually want to know why he was claimed to be so important. But then moving on to, we see this shot, it's Laurent laying in bed looking at a picture of his mother. So we can assume that Isabel at some point did reveal that this is his mom. I don't know if she's gone as far as to say, "Hey, I'm your aunt," but he at least knows who his mother is, where he came from. He just doesn't know the circumstances surrounding how he came to be. And I'm not real sure, because we kind of got the instance, or we kind of got the hint or what have you in the previous episode that no one really knows who his father is. I'm going to go on the line and say it's probably Quinn. I can almost guarantee that he had some behind the scenes thing going on with Isabel's sister while he's supposedly supposed to be with her. I think that's why he was in the big rush really to get rid of her in the last episode at the beginning of the apocalypse, knowing that she's pregnant, especially after finding out she's pregnant, that he wanted to get rid of her and get rid of the evidence of indiscretion, because I'm sure at some point it would have come to light. And then here we see this shot that we've seen a lot of times, this walker in this, probably what we can assume is an experimental type situation where this thing charges at the window and smashes its face into the window. So this is probably a variant, or at least some walker that's been altered in some way through their experiments to make it more aggressive, or maybe even stronger and faster. And then here we see Isabel. She's got this real shocked look on her face, not real sure what she's seeing. We can only assume that maybe this is probably her seeing a walker, or seeing someone killed by a walker. That looks kind of like what that look could be, that she's seeing someone she knows. Maybe this is at some point we see someone within the group that they come to meet being killed, or maybe it's just a big shock factor that it's all of a sudden that this person dies or whatever the situation going on in this shot is. And here we see Condron. He is now back, so at some point we can assume that he has tracked them because he did see the map in the last episode where he's snooping around the Abbey trying to figure out who these people are, who this kid is, where they're going, and we can assume with all his information gathering that he's tracked them along the way and he's seeing where they stop and the main point that they're trying to get to. So he's still out for revenge. Still not sure at what point he runs into Madame Genie or her group or how he enlists their help. And then at some point too, we're going to see this nightclub setting. And it's in this, I think we're going to see Quinn again because we saw in the full season teaser that he was in this club, and what this club is, who these people are, still has yet to be revealed, if they're good or bad or have any kind of nefarious intentions or whatever the situation is. But we see this nightclub, so there are parts of Paris we can assume that are still trying to hold on to what it was to give people a place to escape, or just this is a particular organization, this is part of their settlement, and it's not really remotely wholesome in nature. And then here's one of the scenes that we also saw in our previous teaser where we see walkers jumping out of buildings. This is probably, again, along the way to where Daryl and Isabel get to, where they're with this community where that one guy says they've been waiting for them for a long time, waiting to meet Laurent for a long time. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of different dangers along the way as they make their way through what used to be cities and everything, especially outside of Paris or within the initial territory of Paris. So I'm sure this is probably just one of many different things we're going to see as far as dangers from walkers, or maybe we'll even see some variants. So who knows what we're going to see along the way. And this is the end of the teaser. It is a line that we have seen other times in trailers and everything that Isabel kind of says to Daryl, broken until the world ended, because we all saw in this previous episode that Isabel has a very spotty past as to what she was doing before the world ended. She was a con artist and a thief, and she was going to nightclubs and using men to get their money, get their watches, whatever she could that was of value, and she had a stash of it in her apartment that we saw after Quinn picks her up in the middle of all the chaos and they run back to her place, and she puts that night's earnings or whatever you want to call them within that stash, and she puts it back. So really kind of a pointless thing at that point, but we see that she was very much broken, and she can kind of see that in Daryl, I think, because we know that before the world ended, Daryl had a very traumatic upbringing and a very close-minded way of thinking just because of the way he was brought up, and we saw how Merle was, and just being that he didn't trust anybody. All he had was Merle, regardless of the fact that they were very toxic for each other for that point in time anyways, and that it was complete opposite of who Daryl ended up becoming. And kind of going on what Isabel said, the world really did have to go to shit for Daryl to really discover who he was or who he could be in that kind of situation. But that kind of does it for the teaser. The next episode, like the others, looks great. I'm sure we'll get some big reveals as far as Laurent, Condron, and just maybe some indication of at what point Condron comes in contact with Madame Genet's group. So I'm really excited about it. But anyways, that was my breakdown of the next episode. Can't wait for it. This show has been amazing. It's definitely a fresh take on things, and I'm glad to see that everyone's, including my own, the expectations of the show were just completely wrong. We didn't think this would work, and it's doing quite well. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this, please check out my other stuff. Leave likes, leave comments, and as always, if you feel so inclined, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, I will see you later. Bye.